Hello, Joe here from Bombard Games to teach you the draw and move mechanic used when you substitute the Spectrum cards for the dice. So let's take a look at this. Typically when we played Spectrum, we'd either play with the D4 dice or the D12 dice where we got the colors on dice. But in this variant, we're going to play where the colors are on cards and you draw cards to move. So let's take a look at it. Here's the draw and move deck. It's all the ones, twos, and threes mixed together. We'll give them a little shuffle. Uh, and let's show you the three basic draws in this instead of rolls. And it's exactly the same as the detail 12 rules over here, but we'll walk through them. In case you need a reference, you can use this. Maybe I'll make another third one just for the cards, but it is essentially the same rules as the D12 rules. So let's look at it. Uh, the first kind of draw, well, here we go. We got lucky. One of the draws you can have is when you draw the same color. In this case, we did orange, orange, right? Orange 2 and orange 1. So this would be a special draw, just like when doubles is called a special roll. So on a special draw like this, the rule is you get move 2 movement points. You get the sum of the movement points on the card. So in this case, you're going to get 2 plus 1, so 3 movement points in the color of the drawn cards, in this case orange, and any shade of it. So in this case, since we drew orange, let's just put a marker here. That means we can move a total of 3 spaces in orange, red orange, or orange yellow, right? So all the shades of orange. And just like the dice, there is no bottom of the card, but it is the opposite color, and you can always kind of just do the opposites through the center here. We see the opposite of orange is going to be blue. So that means the other places we can move are blue, purple, blue, and green, blue, right? So even though there's no bottom of a card, we're assuming there was. So that gives us a total of 3 movement in any of the 6 colors, right? Any shade of orange and any shade of blue. So for example, I could go 2 in blue and 1 in orange. Now you still have to come in on primaries. There's no change of that. But you could do something if you wanted to and come in on the blue and go like this, right? 1, 2, because you're allowed to move into the shade of blue here as well. I mean, you could do the reverse and say I want to take the 1 in blue and I would like to take 2 in orange, like this. So you end up in red orange, or you could just take your 2 in normal orange. But you have a total of 3, the sum of the cards, in 6 different colors, which is the 3 shades of the color you drew, and then the 3 opposite shades, just like they had at the bottom of the dice. So that is draw type number 1. So let's kind of set them aside. We got the hardest one out of the way. The second kind of draw is 2 cards that are completely not next to each other, right? 2 colors not to each other. In this case, orange, yellow. I'm going to move my pawns here. So orange, yellow is here, and we got blue, green here. These are 2 colors that are clearly not next to each other. So your only option is to play 1 card. In this case, either take 2 in green, blue, or take 2 in orange, yellow. And because you have no pawns on the board at this point, this would be a non-move. Now, if I had pawns all over the board here, I mean, we can just set some up, and as we take draws, we can kind of be more set up for it. Obviously, at the beginning, drawing 2 secondary colors with no pawns on the board is not going to do you a lot of good. But in this case, if we were set up like this, I could either take 2 in orange-yellow, right? So I can move, if we use here, 1, 2, or the 2 in green-blue. I play one of the 2 cards. They are not next to each other. They're not the same. That is the second kind of draw. Get these out of the way. And the third kind of draw is just going to be when you have 2 cards that are in the same shade. So what do we got here? Orange, purple. I'm going to just kind of draw randomly until we get one. Red, of course not. That is 2 of the same. Okay, so in this case, let's grab one of these and one of these. Get the rest of these out of the way. So in this case, we've got a combo shade here, right? We have yellow and yellow-green. The 2 cards are not the same, but they share a color. So this is called a shaded play. You show both cards. And in this, let's get some of these, in this instance, whenever you play shaded, you get your movement points is the sum of the 2 cards, in this case 3 plus 1, 4, divided by 2, rounded down. So in this case, 3 plus 1 is 4, divided by 2 is 2, rounded down, there's no rounding needed, it's just 2. So you have a total of 2 movement points, and they may be taken in either yellow or yellow-green, which are the 2 colors, or the colors on either side of them. So in this case, When you play a shade, in this shaded case, you could move in orange, yellow, 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 green, or green, and you could take your 2 points. So again, if we were coming in off the board on some of these, and we had some, let's say we had one up here, we could do different things. We could take 2 in green, right? Make that our move, bring a new pawn on. We could take 2 in yellow green, move this pawn up. Again, with yellow not having anybody in it, we could come in on 2, or we can move this guy too. So there you go. Those would be your options, and that's called a shaded play. So those are your 3. You have the 2 colors not next to each other, in which case you can only play 1 card and take the movement points on it, whatever one you want. The second case is this shaded instance when 2 cards share a color. You're allowed to move in 4 colors, the 2 shown, and then the 1 on either side of the 2 shown. So it's going to be 4 in a row, right next to each other. And you get the sum of the movement divided by 2 rounded down. So basically you're getting half the movement. And the last version is when you do a special draw, which is what we saw first, which is when you draw 2 of the same color, for example, yellow, yellow, you get the sum of the movement. There's no division. There's no rounding down. You just get the sum. And you're allowed to move in any shade of the color you drew and any shade of the color opposite of it. And those rules, as I said, are the exact same rules as the D12 rules. It's just you're using cards instead of dice. So if you need any reference, you can always check here. And that's basically how you play. As the game goes on, just like the dice, from 0 to 3 capture colors, we're drawing 2 cards. Once we get to 4 capture colors, we're going to add a third. And again, you have the kind of the same rules as the original Spectrum, which is you kind of choose one of these to play, right? Unless you have a combo or a special roll. And there are even triple cards, turning that in. There's rules for that movement. But essentially, when you have nothing matching, you're going to choose one. When you have a shade, you can play 2. A shade or a special roll, you're going to show 2 or more cards, and you get the special movements. And once you get to the 8 to 11 colors closed, you're going to add in a 4th card. And again, just like the dice, you're going to pick your best option of what you're given, right? All the cards that, whenever a move is done, are grouped up, thrown into discard. Once our draw pile is extinguished, we just bring in the old discard pile, give it a good shuffle, and it becomes the new draw deck. So that's how you use the cards as a substitute for the dice, which we call the draw and move mechanic. I wish there was twice as many cards here, so you didn't have to shuffle as often. Once you start drawing 4 cards, you're drawing 4 out of 36, so every 9 player turns you have to shuffle, so it's not a burden or anything, but it would be nice if you didn't have to shuffle as often and got to play a little bit more. But besides that, it's a really fun variation, kind of throwing the roll and move mechanic on its head by substituting in cards. Hope you'll give it a try. Let us know if you like it, and until next video, happy gaming.